Guys, I ask you, could any game be as exciting as last year's Fiesta Bowl? No, but that's okay. I'm still going to give it some love. I've got the chips and dip, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl off to Glendale, and West Virginia and Oklahoma both decided to show up. Look at that, arm in arm. Oh, it's so adorable. And Oklahoma decided to show up too. Big favorites, but it was going to be all West Virginia. See what I mean? Sam Bradford goes back to pass, and Eric Wicks with the facial. Goodness. He was up in his grill, wasn't he? And then, well, West Virginia showed up offensively too. Second quarter on second down. It would be Owen Schmidt. Look at that tank looking for the runaway truck ramp. He wouldn't find it. He'd find the end zone instead. West Virginia would go on for the upset, 48-28. Now, you guys know how I feel about the current system for determining the national championship in college football, but I'm still a sucker for New Year's Day bowl games. 101-08, the Redux. Let's take a look at yesterday's games. We'll start our walkabout, get it, with the Outback Bowl. There we go, and that's Eric Ainge, Danny's son, would find Brad Cottom. Cottom would do the rest, 31-yard touchdown that put Tennessee up. Wisconsin would try to come back. Tyler Donovan looking to be the hero. Looking. Unfortunately, he'd find Tennessee's Antonio Wardlow. Take a knee, son. We're going to win the game. Very good. Tennessee goes on to win 21-17. Now the 72nd Cotton Bowl, Missouri versus Arkansas, and Tony Temple of Missouri was unconscious. Look at this. The presence to point for a block reminds me of me. He takes it in for the touchdown. Temple now later from 4 yards out. Look at the effort, the stretch. Good. You have any idea who I'm going to show in the last highlight? Yep, Tony Temple. Good guess. 40 yards. 4 touchdowns for Temple. That sets a Cotton Bowl record. That's pretty cool. Missouri beats Arkansas 38-7. Let's take you to the Gator Bowl, Texas Tech and Virginia. This is Virginia's Mikel Simpson. He finds a seam, puts Texas Tech in his rear view, and goes Indy. 96 yards, breaks a school record, breaks a Gator Bowl record. Do you know what that means? Absolutely nothing, because Texas Tech would come back. Aaron Crawford for the Red Raiders punches it in from 4 yards, 28-28. Now you're looking at Alex Trilika. This is what it looks like to go for a game-winning field goal from 40 yards. He splits the wickets. Texas Tech wins the Gator Bowl 31-28. And then they tackle him. That seems nice enough. Capital One Bowl, Michigan and Florida. You recognize Tim Tebow. He's got a Heisman Trophy, wants to win the Capital One Bowl. Look like he might. He finds Andre Caldwell, ties it at 28, but Michigan would have the last laugh. Chad Henne looking and finding Adrian Arrington over the middle. Wolverines beat the Gators 41-35. That's the Rose Bowl in case you didn't know. USC versus Illinois, and you know how tough it was to get tickets? Even Will Ferrell and Matt Leinart had trouble. Gosh, I don't know if I would have been able to get on that sideline. First quarter now, John Booty finds Garrett Green, who finds Desmond Reed, the trifecta. No extra style points, though. It's still only worth 6. 14-0 USC. Illinois gets back in it, though. Rashard Mendenhall running to daylight. A little help from his friends. 79 yards later, it's 21-10. Looks like the Illini is going to get back in it, but no, way too much Trojans. John Booty rolling out, finding Fred Davis in the back of the end zone. The men of Troy win 49-17. The Sugar Bowl now, Hawaii versus Georgia. And if you like freshman running backs, you would like Georgia's Noshawn Moreno. 17-yard touchdown. You guys like Moreno? Good. Here's more from 11 yards out. More Moreno, 14-3 Bulldogs. But the big story was Georgia's defense. They were basically in Colt Brenton's kitchen all night long. The Bulldogs win 41-10.
That's a lot of football to talk about.
I know. It's been great. You know, just every channel, there's football.
And there's still more to come.
There's still more to come.
Yeah, you got it. It really messed up with my bracket picks, but as a fan, I loved every second of it. Which takes us to the now and the second half of today's games. So get ready, because here we go. I keep it in the Eastern region. I'm going to start in Raleigh, North Carolina with the team a lot of people like to win this tournament. North Carolina against Mount St. Mary's out of the Northeast Conference. That's Tyler Hansbrough. This is foreshadowing. He gets the pilfer. He goes the distance. I dunk, therefore I am. He finishes with 21 points. I think it's fun to watch him dunk, so let's watch him do it again. 113-74 UNC. Let's go down to Birmingham, keeping it in the Eastern region. St. Joseph's, that is, out of the A-10, taking on Oklahoma. Now, St. Joseph was down by as much as 18, but Rob Ferguson would help bring him back. 5-ball corner pocket. He finishes with 21, but just too much Oklahoma. Chicks dig the Longar. Longar finishes with 14. They go on to win 72-64. Keeping it in Birmingham, Boise State working out of the WAC, taking on the Louisville Cardinals, the number 3 seed, and they looked good tonight, including Earl Clark. Release a rotation splash. He finishes with 15 points. Louisville goes on to win 79-61. Let's take you back up to Raleigh, Indiana, taking on Arkansas, and it was going to be all Arkansas. Darren Towns looking at in the paint. He finishes with 17 points, but the story of the night was Sonny Weems. Watch this. Bingo. He finishes with 31 points. Arkansas, Pig, win 86-72. I had to do that on air. I had to.
That's the official.
Well, welcome back. It is Sunday in the last week of the NFL season, and our two closest teams both had something to play for. The Arizona Cardinals look to go 8-8 and have their first non-losing season in 9 years, while the Lightning Bolts were looking to go 11-5 and secure the number 3 seed in the AFC. We will start with the Superchargers, San Diego at Oakland, and LT. Well, you can't tell he's putting his game face on because he hides behind that mask. I love him now. Phillip Rivers finding LT, the nice stiff arm. He takes it in the end zone, the nice toss. There we go, 7-0 Chargers into the first half now. Rivers looking and finding maybe his new favorite target, Chris Chambers. You know what? He just wanted it more. The Chargers win 30-17. They secure the number 3 seed in the AFC. Cardinals now in action. That's Mark Bulger for the Rams, and he'd find Antrell Roll. He has the presence of mind to get up and watch this run. He runs about 5 miles to go 50 yards. Speaking of wanting it, he takes it all the way in. Touchdown, Cardinals. Roll would hand it over to the offense, and Warner and Fitzgerald were both hot. Warner threw for 300 yards, 100 of it to Larry Fitzgerald. The Cardinals win 48-19. Good stuff from both our local teams. Now, Week 17, the final week of the NFL season. Some games mattered, some didn't. Strap yourself in. Here's the other 13 games. We start with the boys on Lake Erie. Now, Cleveland would need help later in the day from Indianapolis. I'll get to that, but the Browns wanting to stay focused, taking on the Niners, and Derek Anderson looking for Braylon Edwards like butter. Touchdown Browns. They win 20-7. They finish a surprising 10-6 on the season. Off to Green Bay. And the ladies love Brett Favre. Come to think of it, I love Brett Favre, especially when he's doing stuff like this, looking against Detroit, scrambling, looking, scrambling, finding Bubba Franks. The Packers win 34-13. Detroit loses 7 of their last 8 games. Let's go to Miami, Cincinnati, and Miami. Cam Cameron probably should start looking for a job because Bill Parcells is not going to like what he sees. Carson Palmer playing a little pitch and catch with his favorite receiver, Chad Johnson. Nice catch, nice run after the catch. 70 yards later, touchdown Bengals. They win 38-25. The Dolphins finish a lowly 1-15. Buffalo and Philadelphia. Would this be Donovan McNabb's last game with the Eagles? If it was a good one. He was looking for Brian Westbrook. He would find him in the seam. Westbrook would fumble, but Kevin Curtis was Johnny on the spot. The Eagles win 17-9. Off to Tampa Bay, Carolina. D'Angelo Williams with a nice stutter step. Then up the right sidelines, 32 yards later, a touchdown for Carolina. They beat the Buccaneers 31-23. Off to Houston, and this is Andre Davis. He just returned a kick for a touchdown to end the first half. What does he do to start the second half? He does it again. 104 yards later, the Texans beat the Jaguars 42-28. They finished the season 8-8. Atlanta and Seattle, Chris Redmond would throw 4 touchdowns on the day, and Atlanta finishes the season on a winning note. Chicago and New Orleans, the Bears looking to knock the Saints out of playoff contention. Adrian Peterson finding Bernard Berrien. They do just that. They beat the Saints 33-25. The Jets and the Chiefs go overtime. Mark Nugent between the wickets. NY finishes off KC 13-10. Keeping it moving now, Washington hosting Dallas. If the Redskins win, they're in. Clinton Portis, 23-yard touchdown. Redskins beat the Cowboys 27-6. They win their last 4 games to make playoffs. Good stuff from Washington. Baltimore now and Pittsburgh. Troy Smith would find DeVar Darling, 27-21. The Ravens beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh goes in as the number 4 seed in the AFC. Minnesota and Denver going overtime. Tavares Jackson fumbles. That would set up the chip shot for Jason Elam, and the Broncos knock the Vikings out of playoff contention. And finally, as seen here on NBC Sports, Tennessee wins. They're in against Indianapolis. Chris Brown, the 8-yard touchdown run, and Tennessee is in the playoffs. They will take on Well, my Chargers next week in San Diego to start off the playoffs.
Your Chargers, my Chargers too.
Yeah.